All right, so here we go. This should be a good one. This is going to be my very first time opening up some Primal Shards. We're going to open up some Void Shards and some Ancient Shards, but I'm most excited about these red Primal Shards because, yes, we also have the Progressive Chance event going on right now. If you're wondering what that is, if you're new to Raid Shadow Legends, yes, it says it increases summon chances by summoning champions of the same rarity up to times 25, as you can see right there. And what we're going to eventually do is, of course, slot in the legendary, and we can even go for an epic that we would want a chance. So that says times 15 chance right there, you know, and then we would confirm that. We're not going to do that yet because I also wanted to mention something to you guys, super important if you are new to Raid Shadow Legends. Well, welcome aboard. Well, this is your chance to actually get, or not a chance, this is a 100% certainty to get Teodor and, yes, Ugo for free right now by following the link in the description below or click the QR code on the screen. And these are absolutely amazing epic support champions. Trust me, they have absolutely been crazy good through my journey so far in Raid, tag teaming together with our leader here, Sun Wukong. There's a promo code for him as well in the description below, but I have a badass team going so far. And then there's going to be a bunch of extra resources in that you will get if you follow my link down in the description below. So yeah, some really cool stuff. All right, it is time to open up some Primal Shards. But we got to ask ourselves, who do we want to slot in here for a better chance? Okay, that is the question. Just by the look of things, you know, I would go with her right here. I mean, she just looks so freaking awesome. And I've also heard she's excellent for arenas and really, really good at some of the boss battles as well. But let's take a look at some of her abilities real fast. We have Debasement. It says attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. That's pretty damn good. Also has a 25% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff on all other enemies for 2 turns if this attack is critical. So you definitely want to up her crit chance or critical attacks as well, which would make sense for her to kind of trigger that more. And then we have Purgative Punishment. It says attacks one enemy 3 times. Ouch. Each hit decreases the target's defense by 5%. Then that's going to stack up to 30%. Each hit also increases this champion's defense by 5%. Stacks up to 100%. That's really good. Now, instantly activates the Celestial Awe skill if this skill kills an enemy. Now, what is Celestial Awe? So, that is the next. Okay. Attacks all enemies. Place a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Now, this debuff cannot be blocked or resisted if the target champion is from the Demon Spawn faction. Yeah, that sounds pretty powerful right there. But what do we got going on here? Demon Slayer. Enemy ignores defense effects are decreased by 50%. Okay, nice. Champions from the Demon Spawn faction cannot inflict critical hits on this champion. This champion cannot land weak hits on champions from the Demon Spawn faction. And again, we also have, you know, increase all the resistance in the arena by 80. So she is an arena fighter ready to go. Extremely important champion right here for sure. And then we got Wallmaster Othorion, who looks totally badass. Dear God. This is becoming a tough decision here. Let's check out his skills. Skyfall Arrow attacks all enemies. This attack will not trigger counterattacks. That is extremely nice right there. Not having to worry about those counterattacks coming in. Now, fills the champion's turn meter by 5% for each living enemy after the attack. And then we have Falcon Shot level 1. Now attacks all enemies 2 times. Love that it attacks all the enemies. The first hit has a 75% chance of placing a block buff debuff for 2 turns. The second hit has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Loving that he is debuffing the enemy team here. Fills the champion's turn meter by 5% for each living enemy after the attack. And we also have places a 50% increase attack buff, a 50% increase accuracy buff, and a 30% increase speed buff on this champion for 3 turns. That is wild. Then grants an extra turn. Dude, pretty good right there. But what is this one? No foe too great. Level 1 increases the champion's max HP by 20% for each enemy killed or Hydra head decapitated by this champion stacks up to 50,000. So he is going to be excellent for Hydra, of course. Choices. But this guy's really cool. Ultimate Death Knight, because he has this. Increases ally defense in all battles. What does he have crawling on him? This is the first time I've seen this. It's like a little rat crawling on him. But anyway, yeah. It says increases ally defense in all battles by 30%. That's pretty legit. Having that like boost for all the teams, I really look for this sort of thing when you are talking about like a legendary here. And then we have, of course, Mighty Uko, I believe it is. If it loads. Very cool. Now, what is his ability? Increases all speed in all battles by 20%. Speed being one of the absolute most critical abilities in the game and buffs that you can actually receive. Dude, okay. He looks like he's wearing that plague mask, doesn't he? And then we have this dude. All defenses increase for the allies by 30%. Very cool. But, you know, I'm such a sucker for the this look. You know, this is just... Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of, like, the samurai look. I have to go with her, okay? We're going to slot her in. So that has been decided. Now, who's next? Who's next for our epic? We have an epic support. This guy looks pretty cool. But I got to say, boring. He's not my top pick here. We also have this dude. That's pretty cool. Dang, dude. Now, what does he have? He has increased ally HP in faction crypts by 30%. That's pretty cool. He's got some poison abilities here and some sort of shield buff as well. Some cool stuff going on there, but I think she is going to be our top pick here just because of the aesthetic and the look here. It's just so freaking cool. And she also has increases ally accuracy in battles by 40. That is huge. Accuracy being one of those very, very important stats that you absolutely need to focus on. So we're going to slot her in. All right, we're going to go ahead and confirm this. Wish me luck. We'll see what happens. I only have 10 Primal Shards, which is a bummer. And we're going to open them one by one to really see what happens here. Wish me luck, everyone. Let's do this. Come on, baby. Give me something good. Okay. You know, he's a 3-star. But he's very cool looking. I have no one like this. Very cool looking. So let's take a look at the abilities though. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each critical hit fills this champion's turn meter by 5%. Not too bad. Attacks one enemy 2 times before attacking. Places a 15% increased critical rate buff on this champion for 2 turns. That is legit. So you can really know how you can want to go after critical rate and critical hit chance and that sort of thing when it comes to his equipment, I would think. And then you have the first hit has a 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense debuff, I should say, for 2 turns. The second hit has a 50% chance of placing a 15% weakened debuff for 2 turns. Love that he is a debuffer. Some of my favorite team members right now on my team are debuffers. So extremely important. Finally, once we get to Ascension level 3, it says each hit from this champion deals an extra 5% damage if this target is under decreased defense or weakened debuffs. Okay, pretty good, but I would love to see what unlocks with him eventually. Yeah, let's roll again. Let's go ahead and pool. Let's see what we got. Come on, give me something good. Okay. Daily quest complete. We got a lizard man here. Very cool looking, a 3-star rare. Definitely not what I was looking for sure. But we have Vicious Rip level 1. Attacks one enemy 2 times. It's a 20% chance of placing an extra hit. And also we have, I believe is this gonna be poison? We'll see. It says place a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. Also place a counterattack buff on this champion for 2 turns. Noise. Now, Feral Hunter looks interesting. Fills the champion's turn meter by 15% on critical hits. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50% if this champion kills an enemy. That is really good. Combined with the fact that he increases ally speed in faction crypts, you're gonna want him probably, in faction wars, faction crypts for sure, because of just the speed bonuses he can give himself and others around him. Pretty cool. Okay, moving on. Come on, give me a legendary. Alright, definitely not legendary. Mother Superior. I don't believe I have her at all. Digging the outfit. Very cool. We have Lightning Sanction. Level 1 has a 35% chance of placing a 25% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Damage based on attack. Alright. And then we have this heals an ally by 30% of the champion's max HP, but add an ascended skill, or as an ascended skill, I should say, heals an ally by 30% of this champion's max AP. Place a shield buff equal to any surplus heal for 2 turns of the target is fully healed. Okay, by this skill. Nice. So we got some heals here and more heals. So a very healing character, essentially a medic and a buffer. And she provides that speed buff as well in all battles. That's nice. It's not just like limited to one thing. So very cool. I'm going to actually keep her on my radar, okay, going forward, just because of the buffs and how you could use her all around raid. Come on. Give me like an epic at the very least. Dang it. Now, I think this is the character that I've heard isn't good. I might be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong or right about that. But there is like an orc character they say to avoid. I'm wondering if it's him. I'm not too sure. But anyway, let's take a look-see. We have attacks one enemy 2 times. Then attacks all enemies. Place a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. Once we get into the ascended skill, it says attacks all enemies. Has an increased 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Place a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. And then, yeah, increased speed. Love it. Attacks 4 times at random. Has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decrease defensive debuff for 2 turns. Has a 30% chance of placing 60% decrease defense debuff for 2 turns if the target has more than 2 debuffs. So you really want to tag team him with other debuffers on the team, and then you could really do some damage to that enemy team. Increases ally HP in all battles by 15%. I actually like some of the stuff he provides, you know. It's pretty cool, but he feels like he's very reliant on having another debuffer around him, I think. If I read that right. Hopefully I got that right. Let's go again. Pull! Alright. Another rare, unfortunately. I already have her. And I need to work on leveling her up a little bit more. So, Ferocious Attack level 1. We already pretty much know about her. Wait, is this poison, actually? 2.5% poison debuff for 1 turn. Sweet. Then we have attacks one enemy, places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion and places an extra hit if this attack is critical. The extra hit cannot be critical. Okay. That sounds pretty good. Crumbling Blast level 1 attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing 30% decreased debuff for 2 turns. But we also have the ascended skill. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decrease defensive debuff for 2 turns. That's nice. Yeah, you know, digging the outfit, I gotta say. I'm just saying. All right, next up, let's see what we got. Come on, give me an epic. Another rare. Damn. Sanctum Protector. Now, he is actually badass looking. I really like the look of this dude. Holy crap. Kind of reminds me of the game For Honor. If anyone's ever played that. But anyway, it says, Repel Intruders level 1. Attack one enemy, has a 15% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Okay. Not that impressive at all. Attacks all enemies, then place a 30% increase defensive buff on the champion for 2 turns, but an ascended skill attacks all enemies, then place a 30% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Okay, like how it's for all allies. Now we have attacks one enemy, has a 70% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Nothing like too exciting with him. He's cool looking though. Love the shield. Okay, so let's keep going. I am really crossing my fingers we at least get an epic out of these pools here. Damn you! Another rare. Okay, I have not gotten this guy before though. Lore Keeper. Okay. Let's see. Banisher Axe level 1. Attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a block active skills debuff for 1 turn. Oof. That's pretty good, you know. Being able to block the enemy like that. from using their, I believe it's 20. Yeah, that's pretty good, but it's only 25% chance, not like a guarantee, but still legit right there. Now, Stern Punishment level 1 attacks one enemy has a 40% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn if the target is under any debuff. So far, my dude here, Delore, is all about getting the enemy pacified and out of the battle, which can be extremely useful if you have higher level characters. You can target them specifically, knock them out for a bit, and then like whittle down everyone else. So yeah, that can actually be really useful here. It says place a 15% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also place a block debuff buff on the target ally for 1 turn if they have less than 100% HP. He actually is pretty useful if you have hit a roadblock and you're dealing with enemies that are constantly basically doing a block debuff on you. This will buff. Place a block debuff buff on the target ally. So it essentially blocks an enemy that's trying to debuff you, I believe. Yeah, so that's actually really legit. All right, and pool. What's next? Let me see some purples. It's blue again. Okay, Spy Master. Haven't gotten this guy. I love how, like, decorative their shields always are. Again, just seeing the artwork. Dude, okay, so he's part of the Banner Lords. Now, it says attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of decreasing the duration of 2 random buffs on the target by 1 turn. Very cool. So if you have someone that's OP, you go after them with this character. This is where sometimes you want to shut off auto when you're playing and go manual. I've noticed that in some of these more nuanced battles, you really want to be able to control what abilities are going off for which characters that you're facing off against. I think this guy would be very useful for that. Then we have attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a block buff debuff for 2 turns. And then finally we have place a counterattack buff on this champion for 2 turns. Sweet. So he can get in there and attack. And then that Ascended skill also has a 75% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn on 2 random enemies. Nice. Okay. Pretty cool. Come on, man. Let's see what happens here. No like purple, no bright legendary colors, but we have the Prosecutor. Dun dun dun. Love the weapons. Badass look here. Part of the High Elves. 2 abilities, though, that we have. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. Okay. And then attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. That's actually legit, because we know that speed is so very important in this game. But once we get to Ascension level 3, we have attacks one enemy 3 times, placing a 50% increased accuracy buff on this champion for 2 turns before attacking. Then each hit has a 30% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. Okay. Very different, very interesting. I'm trying to think of how I would utilize her. She is debuffing quite a bit, but it doesn't feel like she's like attacking everyone all at once from what I'm seeing. Well, attacks all enemies here. Actually, I take that back. I don't know. I'd have to try her out, you know, and see how she would fit in with other characters. That's the question. And Bull. Please stand by. Here we go. It's going to be purple or something. It's going to be blue again. Damn. Okay, who do we got? Purgator. I don't know if I said that right. Purgator? I'm just kidding. But then we have Doom Inescapable. Inescapable attacks one enemy 2 times. Will ignore shield buffs. Ooh, that's legit. Shield buffs are always going off. And then we have attacks all enemies and inflicts 10% extra critical damage for each debuff on this champion. Stacks up to 50%. That's very specific, you know. Depends on the battle if you're getting hit by a lot of debuffs, which I feel like you already are anyway once you get to those higher levels. Attacks one enemy, destroys the target max HP by 20% of the damage inflicted. Okay. Pretty cool. Looks like he has some, like, oven mitts on. He's getting into the oven to bake a cake. No, so overall, that was a bust. But we did get some cool characters, I gotta say. But we gotta open up some Void Shards. That's gonna be the next step here. So, what characters shall we slot in here? We have, of course, Taurus the Fierce. Very cool looking. Part of the Banner Lords. And what is he all about? Shatter upon us, level 1, attacks one enemy 2 times. Oh, he has like a mandolin type thing. Okay, that's pretty cool. But what is this? This is a passive effect. When attacked, decreases the enemy's attack by 10%. Occurs once per skill. That's pretty cool. Then active effect. Place a fear debuff on all enemies. From the orcs. Oh, so specific tribes you can go after. With a fear debuff. That's very interesting. Here's some of the details there. Aura, increase ally crit rate in all battles by 24%. That is freaking awesome. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. He has some hills, it looks like, as well. I don't know, I like him, but let's see her. Okay, she's really cool looking. Almost looks like a mage type character. So what does she do? I always love to look at this first. Increases ally accuracy in battles by 70%. Okay, she's so far my top pick right now. And then we have Fumes of the Grail, level 1. Places a Poison Cloud buff, a 30% increased speed buff, and 2 continuous heal buffs on a target ally for 2 turns as well. And then attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defensive debuff and a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns. Will ignore block debuff buffs. Okay. Interesting. That is very interesting. Then we have attacks all enemies. Has a 50% chance of placing decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. The ally with the highest crit damage also joins to attack the enemy with the lowest HP. The ally joining the attack will use their default skill. That's pretty cool. Tag teaming like that is very cool. And then we got the Ascension level 3 skill. Increase the champion's accuracy by 10 for each buff on each enemy. Does this like stack together? That's really nice. All about accuracy. Dude, she's pretty good. Whenever an enemy receives a buff, their turn meter is decreased by 10%. I like her a lot. Number 1 pick so far. But that could change. Let's check her out. Oh, damn. Holy crap, the Shadowkin. Look at these designs. I haven't had a chance to look through all the characters, so I'm seeing this stuff for like the first time. Very cool. Okay, so some heals, I'm assuming. Place a 15% continuous heal buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 1 turn. Also, place a 7.5% continuous heal buff on all allies with 30% HP or less for 1 turn. Love it. You got to time that correctly, though. That's the thing. Got to time it. So, yeah, that's the tricky part. Now, what is this? Pressure points level 1. Place a stun debuff on a target enemy for 1 turn, as well as HP burn debuff. A 60% decrease defensive debuff. A 25% weaken debuff. And a 50% decrease attack debuff. And a 30% decrease crit rate debuff for 2 turns. Then attacks the target. Dear God. Look at all of that. That is freaking awesome. That's pretty powerful right there. Perfect Body level 1 removes all debuffs from all allies. Then places a block debuff buff on them for 2 turns. Also heals all allies. Yeah, she's just absolutely amazing for protecting against those debuffs and also dishing out a ton of them as well. Amazing right there. Reflect. When receiving any debuffs, transfers them from this champion to the attacker. Ooh, that's tricky. That is tricky right there. And then we have Aura, which increases ally attack in faction crypts by 42%. It's a shame that the overall like passive type skill for the allies isn't for all battles. I would have preferred that. Damn, that's the only thing I gotta say. You know, I would have preferred something for Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe you guys have some opinions about this one. Let me know if I'm wrong or right about that, and I'm reading that one wrong. But we have to decide who we're going to slot in here. It's between her and her. I do love the fact that she... Yeah, accuracy. I'm just going to slot her in. Boom, just because of the accuracy. That's huge. Hopefully we can actually get one of these characters, you know, but I have my doubts. We'll see. Very cool. Dark Elves. Witchy vibes here. I'm getting the Halloween witchy vibes. Now it says attacks. One enemy has a 20% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn. This chance increases to 30% if the target is under 1 debuff, and then it increases to 45% if that target is under 2 or more debuffs. So you're going to want to time that. You're going to want to time that correctly. And I can see her tag teaming very well with the other debuffers. Attacks all enemies has a 40% chance of stealing 1 random buff from each target. Love it. Place a block debuff buff on all allies for 2 turns. Place a true fear debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have buffs stolen. Okay, we got true fear and block debuffs. Very cool. Removes all buffs from enemies. Places a 50% decrease attack debuff and a 60% decrease defensive debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. All about the buffs and debuffs. Epic support unit right here. Place a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. So you're going to want to keep her healed. You know, when you do this one. When attacked while under a shield buff, has a 35% chance of placing a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. I like her. A lot of buffing and debuffing going on here. Okay. Ursula, the Mourner. So, let's check it out. Again, the artwork. Banner Lords. Banner Lords have some really cool, like, artwork stuff going on there. Lance of the Penance. It says attacks 1 enemy, has a 40% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. And then attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of... wait, what? Has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Okay. Also place a 50% increase attack buff on allies for 2 turns. That's pretty powerful. But she also increases speed in Doom Tower battles by 24%. So she is more particular. You're going to want to have her by your side in Doom Tower. Revives all dead allies with 75% HP. This is Ascension level 3 skill. Then fills their turn meters by 50%. Love this. This is like the Hail Mary type situation that you can find yourself in. You're going to want her on your team if you're like really struggling. Clutch moment there. Oh boy. Okay, so who do we pick here? Oh my god, I'm kind of like torn. Dude, I'm not too sure. I am not too sure. I do like having a character that's dedicated to the Doom Tower, so... I don't know, I'm gonna wing it. Wish me luck. Gonna confirm that, and we're gonna begin opening. 1 by 1. Let's see if we get lucky here. Okay, we got a rare. Oh, it's a little doggy. Hello there. Does anyone actually use the Stitched Beast? I'm kind of curious, you know? He's not a 4-star at all. But what is this? Pack Tactics. Attacks 1 enemy. Decreases the target's turn meter by 50%. I haven't heard anyone really going on and on about this particular champion. So... let me know if this is a champion that's completely skippable or if I need to 6-star him. We'll see. Okay. 7. Begin. What do we got? Show me some. Wait. Oh, did we actually get... oh, yeah. Oh, we actually did it. I was not expecting that at all. Dude, we actually got an epic and the one we slotted in. Wow. Holy crap. Dude, okay. So, Ursula the Mourner. Hell yes. Attacks 1 enemy. Okay, sweet. I'm like completely shocked right now that we actually got one of the champions we wanted today. Sweet. Okay, so we are going to be reserving her for those Doom Tower battles. But I say we start upgrading her as soon as possible to prep for that as well. Sweet. So we're going to have like her with the campaign runner, you know. And go for it. I love her aesthetic. Badass. Maybe we'll get lucky again. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see. So let's go. Oh, and real quick, as a reminder, you can get Tagore right now for free by following that link in the description below or clicking the QR code on the screen. This is an epic support champion, but by level 15, you'll also receive Ugo for free as a new user to Raid. Remember, you can use the promo code for a limited time. This is very limited. You can use that promo code Monkey King to obtain Sun Wukong as well. So go get him as a free legendary. So you guys have the best start in Raid Shadow Legends. You'll also get a ton of like additional resources to help you out in the beginning of your journey. So check it out. Okay, so now things are really working in our favor, as you could clearly see here. So let's summon again. Maybe we'll get another epic. Okay, so we got a rare. Who is this dude? What in the world? Holy crap. Okay. He is a rare, 3-star. But we can work his way up to 4-star and all sorts of stuff. So, but let's find out. Gears of Gore. Love the sound of it. Attacks one enemy. Place a 7.5% continuous heal buff on this champion for 1 turn if this attack is critical. A lot of ifs and, you know, like it's just him that gets that. Not every ally, so a little conflicted. Heal all allies by 15% of their max HP. And then Ascension level 3 skill revives a dead ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. I do like that. Increases all ally HP in faction crisp by 25%. Pretty cool. More about like supporting the team, I suppose you would say. But let's pull again. What do we got? Give me something good here. Come on. Okay, she's very cool looking. The Dark Elves aesthetic is very, very cool, I gotta say. So, we have Bleed Dry. Attacks one enemy 2 times, has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit, and has a 50% chance of placing a 2.5% poison debuff for 2 turns if this attack is critical. I don't know how like good that is. It sounds pretty good. I do like the fact that she can poison though. Lethal Confusion. Attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Love that though. Increases ally crit rate in arena battles by 16%. I gotta remember all this stuff. So she's seems to be pretty good for supporting, you know, your team when you head into those arena battles. Now, unlocked at Ascension level 3, we have Suppression. Attacks an enemy champion with a default skill whenever they are healed or receive a buff. Attacks one random enemy if multiple enemies are healed or receive a buff at the same time. That is very cool. I love that, actually. Suppression, that's legit. All right. Again. Let's see. Come on, be purple. Or gold. All right. It's not. Okay, so we have Skirmisher. Okay, Barbarians. Love it. I think this is like my first Barbarian. Twin Shafts. Says attacks one enemy 2 times. And then we have an Ascended skill. Attacks one enemy 2 times, inflicts 15% more damage against targets who have no active buffs. That's pretty good. Sounds like something you'd want to do right out of the gates before they start buffing. And then Hex Arrow attacks one enemy, decreases the target's turn meter by 20% if this attack is critical. And then finally attacks all enemies, removes 1 random buff from each enemy. Love that. Getting rid of their buffs, stealing away their power. That's fantastic. And I do love how it attacks all enemies. So as long as it's not like 1 arrow, because, you know, there's characters that are like that. And you're like, come on, dude, you know. But very cool. I like her. A 3-star, you know, rare, but not an epic. Give me an epic. Come on. Let's see here. Another doggy, but this time from the Demon Spawns. Very badass looking armor. Reminds me of like God of War or something. But this dog can attack all enemies. Has a 25% chance of placing a 15% decrease speed debuff for 2 turns. Love it. I love how he's attacking all the enemies again. That's super important. Place a 7.5% continuous healed buff on all allies for 2 turns, everyone. And then add as an Ascended skill, we add in a 15% reflect damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. That's pretty legit. And then place a block damage buff on ally for 1 turn. And finally, we have increased ally defense and faction crypts by 19%. So again, another great faction crypt doggy here. Doggy warrior. Fellhound, as we should call him by his name. Yes, we should. Gotta feed him some treats. Then we are gonna pull here. Let's see what we got. All right, it's blue, which means we got another rare, 3-star. And from the orgs, got like this big ass horn. Dude. Okay, I just like looking at all the details. Now, what do we got? Vigor Spores. Attacks 1 enemy, heals this champion by 30% of the damage inflicted. Also heals the ally with the lowest HP by 10% and their max HP. Okay, that's pretty good. Then place a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns, equal to 20% of their max HP. Then places a 25% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. He's very selfless. We'll also heal all allies except this champion by 10% of their max HP. Okay. And then add Ascension level 3, decrease the damage on allies received by 5%. This champion will receive that damage instead. Oof. Ooh, you got to make sure his HP is up. I think he has pretty good HP pool, though. Increase all ally defense and faction crypts. Another faction crypt warrior. Okay, so we're getting like a kind of like an interesting collection of specifically faction crypt champions here. Summon! We have 15 shards left here. Let's go. Okay, the shield is freaking awesome looking. Dude. I cannot believe the artwork in this. So he is called Tree Shield. Okay, Thorn Reposit says attacks 1 enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of placing a 25% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. It's pretty good. Then heals all allies by 15% of their max HP. So he's a healer as well. And then places that increased defense buff on allies as well. And then revives 2 random allies so he can heal up and give them 25% HP and 25% turn meter. It's not like the 50% that some others can give. Then also place a shield buff on all revived allies for 2 turns, equal to 20% of their max HP. Maybe we can increase this stuff, though, as we go. Level 2 shield. Okay. And then we have Aura, says increases ally speed in faction crypts by 15%. Another faction crypt warrior has been unlocked. Again, let's rock and roll. Give me something good. Give me purple. Another blue. Dude, okay. I have not gotten this guy at all. Othorion. Love the armor. The Knight's Revenant. Okay. I'm digging it. Then we have, of course, Feed on Suffering. Attacks 1 enemy. Heals this champion 15%. He's kind of selfish so far. But we have Freakish Resilience. Heals this champion by 30% of their max HP. And place a 30% increased defensive buff on this champion for 2 turns. Very selfish. And then we have Soul Possession level 1. Exchanges remaining HP levels with a target enemy. That's tricky. So hold on. Exchanges remaining HP levels with a target enemy. And then at Ascended skill, it says this. Then equalizes the HP of all allies. Okay, that's where he becomes selfless. I like him. He has some trickery with him, for sure. Very cool. Let's do it. Let's find out what's next. Okay. We got him again. Gear Grinder. So we already know what he's all about. Okay. Again. Give me in purple. Wait a second. What's this? What? Oh, it felt like something different was happening. Okay, so we have Avatar. Oh, wait a second. This is really good, though. Okay. That's actually legit to see. I can't remember what that's called. Void, I believe. So that is actually pretty cool. Void champion here. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Ascended skill attacks one enemy 3 times. Each critical hit has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 3%. And then also we got the heals. So attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 85% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. So they're not she's not exactly healing, of course, her own allies. She is preventing enemies from healing. And then we have Banish to Shadows. Place a Perfect Veil buff and a 30% reflect damage buff on this champion for 2 turns. I love Veil just because it's so cool looking. But, you know, I really wanted to look into Veil real fast, if I could. Real quick, there are 2 versions of this buff, by the way. There's Veil and Perfect Veil. That's what I was kind of confused about. The champion under either of these buffs cannot be targeted by the enemy. If all remaining champions on a team have an active Veil or Perfect Veil buff, the enemy will not be restricted in targeting a specific champion. Interesting. Okay, so it is pretty much like they're invisible in a way. Now, Veil buffs will be removed when the affected champion uses an active skill, but the Perfect Veil buffs will not be removed. That's the difference. Also, Veil and Perfect Veil buffs decrease incoming damage from area of effect skills. Veil reduces incoming damage by 7.5%, but Perfect Veil by 15%. Now, it says that Veil and Perfect Veil buffs cannot be stolen by an enemy champion with a skill that allows them to steal buffs. So that's why I love Veil. I've noticed Veil seems to be very good, and the look of it is just really cool. Now, Aura says it increases all accuracy in dungeons by 40. So this character is actually pretty legit. I like her a lot. She's got these cool little things. What would they call these? She's trying to do some Wolverine Claw things here. All right, so I say what we'll do today is we will pull maybe up to leave 10 shards for another video and then keep pulling. Or we might pull all of them today. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Come on, give me a purple, give me a legendary, give me something. Okay, so we have a barbarian. Listen, barbarians have more chest hair than this. Where's all... Does he like take the time out to shave and groom? That is not what a barbarian does. Give me a break, dude. Okay, so he's called Scrapper here. And it says this, Arena Arts level 1 attacks one enemy, place a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 5% of the damage inflicted if this attack is critical. Then we have a Crowd Pleaser, attacks one enemy, destroys the target's max HP by 30% of the damage dealt, and place a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equals to 30% of the damage inflicted if this attack is critical. That's pretty good. A lot of ifs in there, you know, if it's critical, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's okay. Aura increases ally attack in Doom Tower battles by 25%. So there's that. And then Show Off. Increase the damage dealt inflicted by this champion equal to the percentage of max HP destroyed on the target. That sounds legit. That's going to be the Ascension level 3 skill. Overall, pretty cool. But the thing is, we do have another Doom Tower champion in our arsenal now. Come on, show me a purple. Nope, we got a rare. Damn it. Vescerator. The Viscerator? Am I saying that right? My mind is getting fried at this point. Okay, so we have, I believe, we already spawned her in. We already know what she is about. I say we pull all these shards today. Let's do it. See what's what. Another rare. Okay, so we have a Lizardman. He's very cool looking, isn't he? Okay, so attacks one enemy, place a 25% increased accuracy buff on this champion for 2 turns, and then attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. I do love how both of his abilities are all about attacking everyone. That's pretty neat. Then place a 15% strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also place a counterattack buff on this champion for 2 turns. Interesting. Very cool. Next up, we've got a legendary. No, I'm just kidding. I tried. Damn it. Okay, so we already know all about her. Again. Try again. You know what they say. We'll see. No luck here. Damn it. It's all good. Let's go. Wait a second. Hold up. Wait a second. We just got an epic support. Okay, our summon chance has been increased again. Oh, man, I wish I had more void shards. I wish this would have happened at, like, 20 shards. But, oh, well. Can't complain. We got another epic support from this. Freaking awesome. Orc tribe. Very cool. Okay, so let's check it out. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Now, at Ascendant skill, it says attacks one enemy 2 times. But each hit has a 25% chance of placing 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. Okay, so poisonous character. Love that. Removes all debuffs from an ally, then heals them by 40% of their max HP. So if someone is really in trouble, especially like the leader of your group, and they're being debuffed like crazy, that's going to be super helpful. And then Bizarre Vapors places 2 5% poison debuffs on all enemies for 2 turns. Also places a 15% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. Yes, this is why this character is in the epic group here. For sure, hell yes. But we also have increased ally speed in battles, in all battles, I should say, by 20%. Love it. Freaking awesome. Good HP. 4-star. Pretty happy about this one. Let's keep going. Let's see if we can get one more epic here, since our chances have increased so much. Whoa, we got, okay. She is badass looking. Look at this. Holy crap. Okay. Demon Spawn. So, yes. Gathering Inferno. Attacks one enemy. It's kind of boring. Not gonna lie. But decreases bomb debuff detonation countdowns by 1 turn. That's very specific. Okay. This is the first time I've heard of bomb. So, can we find out what bomb is? I'll have to look that up. That is literally the first time I've heard of that one. That's the Ascended skill. Alright. Binding Mastery. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Place a counterattack buff on this champion for 2 turns. Sweet. Then we have attacks one enemy has a 60% chance of placing a bomb debuff that detonates after 3 turns. Okay, so now I can kind of understand what they're saying here. Oh, more info. I really want to see what this is exactly. When bomb debuff expires, the affected champion suffers direct damage that ignores their defensive value. The damage inflicted by the bomb scales per the stat indicated in the skill description. Okay, interesting. I'd have to try her to determine if this is any good or not, though. But also, she increases speed in arena battles by 16%, so more specific right there. Might try to upgrade her just for those arena battles. Plus, I want to see what happens with this bomb going off. Sounds pretty cool. Okay, so summon. Come on, Epic. Come on, Legendary. Give me something good. Nope. Okay, so Interceptor. I don't believe we have her yet. Now, is she... Okay, so what type of character is she? Defensive. Attacks one enemy. Has 25% chance of placing a 15% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. That's really good. Attacks one enemy. Has a 45% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn. Love that. But as an ascended skill, what do we got going on? We have the twist here. Places a 15% weakened debuff for 2 turns if this skill does not place a sleep debuff. I love that. That's really, really cool. Okay. Decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 15% as well. So yeah, very cool. Again, I love this aesthetic. I get Lord of the Rings vibes. Whenever I see orcs and like elves, it's really cool. I have a special place in my heart for all things Lord of the Rings. I really want to create like a Lord of the Rings type team in the future. Begin! Let's go! Okay. Now, I don't think I've spawned him in. He's from the Knights Revenant. He is known as a Daywalker. Alright. Blade, is that you in there? Wesley Snipes? Okay, so we have Graves Grasp. It says attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if the target has more HP than this champion. And then we have place a 25% ally protection buff on all allies for 2 turns. More info. What is an ally? The caster champion takes 25% or 50% of the direct damage inflicted upon the target champion. Self-inflicted damage, HP burn, or poison does not trigger this effect. Each champion uses their own defense value for mitigating damage. Okay, so again, I feel like you'd have to have a good HP pool with this character and focus on building up maybe HP. Oh yes, this is an HP character. Okay, yeah. I got it right. Okay, so what do we got next? Death Denied. Revives this champion with 30% HP and attacks all enemies after being killed. This hit cannot be critical. Interesting. Now, Aura says ally crit rate in arena battles by 21%. Again, another great arena battle character there. We only have 3 void shards left. No. All right, we'll try. Wish me luck. Come on now. Confessor level 1. I don't really have much luck with bow character. She's an attack. Champion attacks 1 enemy. Has a 15% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. Okay, Blinding Light now attacks all enemies. Has a 70% chance of placing a 25% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. Now, Ascended Skill, it says this has a 70% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. So it increases by 25% there. Interesting. Once again, going out after accuracy, that debuff can be super important, especially against like magic users, that sort of thing. Then we have Unyielding Fervor. Attacks 1 enemy, has a 35% chance of granting an extra turn. That's pretty good. 35% chance, which was more like 50%, but hey. Increases ally crit rate in dungeons by 16%. So she is going to be reserved for dungeons potentially, but again, we'll see. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about her, so who knows? Sound off if you guys have like used her in significant ways in Raid. Only 2 more shards left. Let's go. Give me something good here. Man, it's going to come down to that last shard. Here we go. Final void shard. Give me a legendary. Damn it. But we did get someone cool. Cold Heart. She's got a cold heart. Okay. Dark Elves. Attack character. Attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 25% chance of placing 50% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. It's pretty legit. But what happens here? Attacks 4 times at random at the Ascension skill. What changes? Oh, this is what changes. So each hit, instead of having 50% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns, is 100%. So that's a pretty significant bump. Now we have Art of Pain. Attacks all enemies. Has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decrease accuracy debuff for 1 turn. Places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under a heal reduction debuff. Again, it has that kind of, has to have that certain status effect on the character before it takes place. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But again, I like how it decreases accuracy. However, we have Heartseeker. It says, attacks 1 enemy, decreases the target's turn meter by 100%, has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Damage increases according to enemy max HP. Okay. That's definitely interesting, especially if you want to target like someone that is really OP, perhaps a higher level, knock him out, keep him pacified, and if you can tag team that with another kind of like pacifier, you can really do some damage to everyone, keeping someone out of the battle and really protecting your own. So that is really legit. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with what we got here. I do wish we had more void shards. Actually, hold on. I don't know what I'm thinking. We can actually open up our ancient shards. I am just going to go ahead and slot her in and then her and try it. Let's go. We only have 2 pools, so it would be an absolute miracle if we got anything from these pools. We're already having some bad luck here. Actually, War Priest, never mind, take that back. She's pretty OP. I already have 1 of her, but having 2, yeah, it might actually be really, really good. I wonder if, is she used for fusions at all? That's what I'm wondering. Next up. Come on, show me some purple or something. Damn you. Oh, hey, okay, Sentinel. Badass looking barbarian here. Who is this? So we have Hook. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn if this attack is critical. Again, you know, I'm still learning a lot about the buffs and debuffs, so I'm just going to take a peek here and find out what the provoke does exactly. Champions under a provoke debuff can only attack the enemy that applied the provoke debuff to them. A champion attacking while under a provoke debuff can only use their default skill. That is very cool. Glaive Swing attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a 25% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns, has a 50% chance of placing a 50% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns, debuffing the crap out of them. And then, of course, you know, stats increase as you get into Ascended Skill. All right. Regeneration heals the champion by 10% HP at the start of their turn. This heal can be critical. Sweet. Increases all ally res in faction crypts by 30. So another faction crypt champion. And yeah, also I think, is that summon event still going on? Anyway, we'll find out. But I still have some work to do on this account. I'm leveling up for sure, and I'm having a blast. But remember, again, if you are new to Raid and you are wanting some really cool champions right out of the gate, here is Teodor, which you can actually get him. He's an epic support champion. You can obtain him by following the link in the description below or scanning that QR code on the screen. And you'll also obtain Ugo at level 15 once you hit that level 15 for free. And a bunch of additional cool resources as well. Don't forget to use the promo code Monkey King when you are in your game as a new user, because you will obtain Sun Wukong. I think he is limited. Yeah, and becomes unavailable past a certain date. So yeah, time restrictions on this sort of thing. So go get him if you want Sun Wukong on one of your accounts or something right out of the gates. Very cool character. But yeah, we got a really badass epic support here. I am thrilled about this. This is awesome. Now we shall see what we can do with her. She is also a speed aura. I wanted to, in Doom Tower. That's what it was. Okay, I'm going to start upgrading her, putting her on reserve, and that's going to be cool. And I did want to upgrade her as well. I wanted to actually do a video on the Shaman down the road, so look out for that. But this was a lot of fun. Finally got to open those Primal Shards. Held out for as long as possible. And I think Progressive Chance is a good reason to open these up. I don't know if Progressive Chance or a 2x event, which one is better. If you are a veteran, let me know. I'll be finding out as we go. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.